This is nothing short of tragic, and I will try and go through this as sensitively as I can because the details about this story are absolutely horrific. There is no getting away from it. But yeah, a defectively designed Cybertruck burned so hot in an auto crash that the driver's bones literally disintegrated. Unsurprisingly, there is a big lawsuit in the offing for this. I'll give as many details as I can, guys, but obviously I will have to spare some for you here for the censors because, yeah, pretty morbid to say at the very, very least, quite literally, and horrible story that someone has passed away anyway in a crash like this. There's not many worse ways to go than being burned alive, unfortunately. But yeah, that's unfortunately what happened to this man. A Cybertruck owner in Texas was unable to escape after rolling it into a ditch last year, experiencing an unthinkable demise as the batteries powering the electric vehicle burst into flames with such intensity that the helpless driver's skeletal system literally disintegrated, his family said. Michael Sheen, who was 47 years of age at the time, burned to death at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a fire so hot that his bones experienced thermal fracture. According to a gut-wrenching lawsuit, his widow and parents have now filed against the electric automaker headed up by billionaire Elon Musk. Of course, we know that fires in electric vehicles are extremely dangerous when they do happen. We saw what happened when a ship containing a lot of electric vehicles recently caught fire off the coast of Alaska. I don't even know if it's still burning, to be honest, but it was burning for days after. Thankfully, the crew managed to get out unscathed, relatively anyway. That tragically was not the case for Mr. Sheehan. Sheehan is the first person to perish in a Cybertruck wreck since the model hit the market in November 2023. But according to this lawsuit, obviously, he didn't have to die, as according to their attorney Scott West, who worked as an industrial design engineer before becoming a lawyer. The suit by Sheehan's family says the single vehicle crash would have normally been survivable, but that the defectively designed Cybertruck instead trapped the registered nurse inside and incinerated him alive. West said, "Every religion has a version of hell, and every version of hell has fire. It is the most excruciating and longest torture of any death." In the 10 months following Sheehan's horrible death, West said that he has been trying to reach a settlement with Tesla to avoid a lawsuit, he explained. However, West said that talks eventually collapsed and we need to move forward for the family. A Tesla spokesperson did not respond to a comment for an interview, unsurprisingly. In April 2024, Sheehan purchased a brand new Cybertruck from a Tesla showroom in the Houston suburb of Cypress, Texas, according to his family's complaint, which was filed on June 13th in Harris County District Court. Just 102 days later, the complaint said that Sheehan was driving home when the Cybertruck left the road and struck a large concrete culvert, after which the vehicle's hyper-volatile battery system went into thermal runaway, a chain reaction of short circuits that ultimately result in uncontrollable temperature escalation and caught fire. It's not too dissimilar to what happens in a nuclear disaster. It's just a runaway chemical reaction that results in this case, a horrific fire, obviously, for this vehicle. Once the power was lost to the vehicle, it was impossible for Sheehan to open the Cybertruck's electrically operated doors in the normal way. The complaint goes on to highlight a major issue that has similarly doomed others riding in Teslas. Obviously, he's the first person to pass away in a Cybertruck, but I imagine there have been cases with other Tesla vehicles that are electrically operated. So the long and short of it basically is that well, it's not even alleging, it's the fact that these doors are electrically operated, so if something like the batteries do go flat, if something like the batteries, of course, in this case, catch fire, you can't get out of the vehicle, so he was unable to leave. In a regular car, you'd just be able to open the door. I mean, he would have been pretty shook up probably, but he probably would have lived, you would imagine. The external door handles also failed to work, and the emergency manual door release handles within the Cybertruck are unreasonably difficult to locate in an emergency, the complaint states. Not only are you riding on top of 3,000 pounds of batteries, this spaceship design is a double-edged sword, West told The Independent, alleging that the aesthetics took priority over functionality at Tesla when designing the Cybertruck. That's an opinion that a lot of people share, and also a lot of people don't think it's the best looking vehicle, but that's a relatively moot point in this case. The design being poor, that is, in terms of how it looks. Obviously, functionally, it's not very good either, clearly. Tesla could have chosen to use a safer battery cells for their Cybertruck to slow thermal propagation, which are readily available, thus giving occupants more time to get out after a crash, according to the Sheehan family's complaint. Doing so would not have impacted the vehicle's utility and alternative designs. Both were economically and technologically feasible, the complaint says. The filing also alleges Cybertrucks are not crashworthy due to the proximity of drive motors to the battery modules and the faulty design of energy-absorbing structures in proximity to battery modules, and no consideration for movement of components during a crash sequence. Further, the complaint maintains that Tesla provides insufficient warnings or training to occupants regarding the safe exit procedures post-crash. Michael was a Mensa-level guy, very, very smart, West said, but when Tesla delivered this Cybertruck to him, the instructions they gave him were woefully inadequate to handle a situation like this. West felt like an idiot the first time he ever drove a Tesla, he recalled. I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. I sat literally for 9 minutes in a rental car parking lot, West continued. That's the eternal factor in human error. It's incumbent upon you as a manufacturer to take extra steps to recognize that new Tesla owners need additional training. West considered that Sheehan had some alcohol in his system at the time of the crash, which the complaint explicitly acknowledges. Still, that said that it shouldn't sign his death warrant. In fact, it was Tesla's gross negligence that caused Sheehan's ultimately demise, according to the complaint. 3 months after Sheehan died behind the wheel of his Cybertruck, 3 college students in Piedmont, California were burned to death in a Cybertruck that veered off the road and slammed into a tree. While one of the occupants was able to make out alive, the flames were so hot, rescuers were unable to reach the others. In April, USC basketball recruit Elijah Arenas, son of former NBA star Gilbert Arenas, was placed in an induced coma, largely due to smoke inhalation when the Cybertruck he was driving caught fire following a crash in Los Angeles, California. Tesla has issued at least 8 recalls for the Cybertruck since its release in 2023, over problems ranging from malfunctioning accelerating pedals to faulty windshield wiper motors to body panels that suddenly begin to delaminate. Tesla sales have struggled with resale prices cratering as other marques make large gains in a global electric vehicle market that was once Tesla's to lose, and they're currently losing it. And things like this are really not going to help their reputation. And Sheehan's family are obviously seeking an undetermined monetary amount for damages to be determined by a jury at a later date. So yeah, I got chills just even reading that story, guys. I had to leave out a lot of details there because simply they are too explicit and too horrible to even speak about on this platform. But you get the picture. Burning to death, like I said, probably one of the worst ways to go. It's got to be in the top 5 minimum. And, you know, even though he did have alcohol in his system, you know, he shouldn't have died of that. That's inexcusable, you know. That really, really is. Unable to find the emergency release cord, you know. Yeah. I mean, I need a minute after that. I really do. But it's important that I bring you this news, guys, because, you know, the safety of electric vehicles when it comes to the event of an accident is something that has been questioned ever since they got released. You know, I remember Richard Hammond, the presenter for Top Gear, when he was doing a Grand Tour episode, he crashed in an electric car, and that was a really nasty one. He got out alive, thankfully, but, you know, a lot of people haven't, and Mr. Sheehan, tragically, is one of them. So, yeah, I hope that they get it's never going to bring him back. Doesn't matter how much money they get from Tesla, but I hope they get something to, you know, at least show Tesla that they messed up here. It's not about the money. It's about showing Tesla that they've messed up and they deserve to be, you know, they deserve to have some recompense for that, the family and everything. So, yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Are electric vehicles safe? Are they not? Should they be allowed on the roads? I want to hear what you have to say about this, because cases like this really, really do get you thinking. Yeah. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys, as always. Hopefully less news like this, but any kind of important news regarding electric vehicles and cars, we bring you here on the channel, guys. Have a great day, or at least as good of a day as you can after reading that.